What would happen if everyone you knew saw you for who you really were? What would happen if they didn't come to conclusions about you based on one or two things they've seen or heard? Based on your life experiences, you're probably thinking of responses to these questions in two very different ways. You might be thinking, that'd be pretty nice. I wish more people would see the real me and not prejudge. On the other hand, you might be thinking, it is what it is. People inherently don't want to get to know the real you unless they have to. In either circumstance, I think getting to know people at a deeper level can help us stop prejudging one another and inherently change the reasons why we should get to know others beyond the surface. One of my main goals in life has always been to have authentic relationships with people that I meet. I've always felt the need to see more of someone and what makes a person who they are, all the things that contribute to their self. Over time, I learned that rich dialogue leads to better conversations, which then leads to a more truthful understanding of one another. I learned how to ask better questions and engage in meaningful conversations. Don't get me wrong, this doesn't come easily and far from something you can do overnight. But with a little practice, diving deep will become second nature. In order to get past the assumed singularity of a person, I crafted a thought process coined Be Natural. You know when you're meeting someone new or you're anxious to interact with someone, you might say in your head, be cool, be natural. It's going to be fine. That's where this stemmed from. The letters in this acronym represent the values in a conversation I feel help create space for understanding the complexities that make up a whole person. BE stands for Bring Energy. This is about doing what you can to bring life to your interactions and engage in the conversation you're having in a way that the other person feels they're valued, no matter how near or distant your relation is to them. Research published by the American Psychological Association shows that pleasant and deeper conversations, even with strangers, is beneficial for both parties. Dr. Nicholas Epley, a professor of behavioral science at the University of Chicago, added that connecting with others in meaningful ways tends to make people happier. I was recently traveling by myself, and so was an older man that was next to me. I immediately wondered, what's his story? Why is he flying today? I put down my headphones and struck up a conversation and found out he was a hedge fund manager on his way to meet an important client. Now, I don't know a single thing about hedge funds or the financial services industry, but I wanted to hear about how he got to where he was today. I learned a lot. I also learned about new career opportunities for someone with my skill set, opportunities I would have never known about had I not had such an engaging conversation. This doesn't happen in every interaction, but what I do know is that everyone has something to share, which can either help you or inform you. Honestly, bringing energy to your interactions with others brings you one step closer to helping them feel more comfortable opening up to you. NA is never assume. Here, you want to make sure you let people tell you what you want to know about them without choosing to conclude what you think their life is like. You know, when I first had my encounter with a family from eastern Kentucky, the Toronto city boy in me was a little apprehensive. The lack of cell service, the deer heads on the wall, the firearms at the ready, gave me a moment of pause. It was in this situation that I realized the singular assumptions people have made about me were wrong. Yet here I was doing the exact same thing to others. The lack of cell service didn't bother them because they enjoyed their quiet time. The deer heads on the wall and the firearms spoke to their pride and joy in hunting as a pastime and gathering meat for their families. Taking the time to learn more about their lifestyle and discovering the reasons behind their choices helped me understand their perspective on life. and ultimately, how they want to live it. Assuming things about people rarely gives us the whole story. We need to make sure we push ourselves beyond what we think to be able to see the complexities that make people who they are. TU is talk with understanding. Have you ever been in a situation where you're speaking with someone and you know they don't know what's going on? The person is nodding their head, subtly trying to show you that they understand your story or understand the emotion you're going through, yet there's a disconnect. You may even feel like they're not actually listening. This is because there's a difference between listening and understanding what's being said. To give someone your attention and to showcase your understanding, you really need to get what's going on. By asking smart questions and confirming points for clarity, you're giving the other person freedom to speak about all aspects of themselves. This is when you'll notice a sense of excitement and comfort from the other person as they share parts of themselves other people never seem to care about. RA is reflect authentically. When you dive deep, you're going to learn things you never knew. You're going to hear things you never thought you would. Take it all in and imagine how it may have impacted a person and how it's made them who they are today. Starting a new interaction or building a deeper connection with someone you know without having expectations will allow you to receive authenticity. You'll be able to get a better sense of their self and therefore experience a more real side of them. Keep in mind, sharing your authentic self helps immensely because it gives the other person confidence to do the same. L ends off the word natural with learn their truth. Ultimately, you're going to find out what makes people feel what they feel, why they love what they love, and why they act the way that they do. It's rare to discover the side of people without rich dialogue. Assumptions, predetermined beliefs, and self-actualized ideas of what we think about people will never give us a detailed perspective. Because the real truth is rarely what you think it is. I have a new friend. He's a software engineer who's very intelligent and a little bit quirky. At first, I didn't know if we'd have anything in common. I didn't even know if I'd understand half the things he would talk about. Turns out, by asking him meaningful questions and creating safe space for dialogue, I got to see who he truly was, beyond the labels given to him, both by me and society. He's someone who enjoys improv, trying almost all foods, and having deep discussions about art. He's also someone who has a unique family history, and we share similar life experiences too. All things I wouldn't have guessed. When you learn someone's truth, you're actively choosing to believe them while validating their experiences. Giving another person the freedom to be and accepting them as they are helps foster meaningful relationships and build strong bonds, whether it's at school, at work, or in your personal life. If everyone took a moment to give others a little more of themselves while seeking out to better understand them, I feel like we could create socially rich and engaged communities. Those who feel prejudged wouldn't feel so judged. Those who never thought it was worth getting to know people beyond the surface would feel more open and happier about people that they meet. The assumed singularity of others isn't real. People are not one-dimensional. They're multifaceted. We shouldn't allow assumptions to determine who people are or who they will become in our lives. It's the complexities that make up each and every one of us that makes our world beautiful, naturally. Thank you.